running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking in Ovals. How is everybody doing out there on this Tuesday, May 26th, 2026, episode number 193? Hyatt, I feel like we got some deja vu going on here. What's going on, brother?
Back-to-back days, man. No, I'm just pumped because here in New Jersey, it's groups week, probably the most exciting week of the year for spring track. So I'm just excited to see what everyone does and get it going on Friday.
I'm just pumped because it was 84 degrees today, and it was gorgeous. And Memorial Day was beautiful at the end of yesterday. 2 days ago, got to have a nice barbecue in, and
kind of a washout here.
It was rainy in the morning, and then it became gorgeous later for us.
Oh no, yeah, it was nice yesterday, but the weekend in general, I'm not sure how many people were at the boardwalk, but it was still packed. It was still packed.
Like, I mean, the bars are always packed.
The bars were
weekend, so that doesn't make a difference. That's seaside, so that's how it is.
Money was made all around. So
money was made. But so for those keeping score at home, yes, we were here yesterday, and we had an awesome show. Talked with Alex Klein and Coach Jack Tarpey. Just really good show of. All of our high school athletes are just friggin' amazing. They're all so good. Yep. Alex was awesome on the show. She's been running so fast over there for Shore Regional. Coach Tarpey is doing a great job over there. Go back and listen to that show from last night because it was fantastic. But this show is, Dave, we've reached a point in the show where we start to get some really cool emails where people reach out to us to come and try and be on our little show. And that is one of the most humbling and cool things that I think goes on. And this individual reached out to us. And once I read the story, I sent it to you right away. I was like, read our email right now. I'm like, we need to have this guy on. It's a ridiculously great story. And we are excited to bring him on. Let's go. He is James Logan. He is an Ironman triathlete, endurance runner. And what was it, 2 years ago? Stage 4 cancer diagnosis?
2 years, April of 24.
April. So 2 years, you had 6 months to live, and here you are. Jim, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
100%. I'm excited to talk to you about your story and everything going on because, it's one of those things where, like I said, this part of the show is cool because typically you hear about these things. You hear, we'll watch a documentary or something, but it's rare that you get the chance to do a show and in person, somebody that's awesome like you, we have the chance to talk to. So I'm excited to jump into it. But before we start talking about you, Jim, a hot button topic in the world of track and field has occurred, and we need to touch on it because we're a track and field show. So we're gonna touch on it. So the World Athletics has released their standards for the championships for 2027. I think this one's in Beijing. So Hyatt, you sent this over to me with your hair on fire. We have a little bit of a different conversation here. So what do you think about the standards? I remember 2 years ago, when we first started the show, the standards were coming out for 2025 or 20 something. And we were like, oh, they're so fast. I feel like we do this all the time.
The biggest issue that I have is like, they don't seem consistent over the events. Like some seem a lot easier. Like to me, the 800 on the men is crazy. The 10K on the men is just ridiculous.
I agree with you with the 10K on the men.
And I think 50 flat for the girls 400 is a little crazy too.
The thing is, I think they have to have data that kind of backs up the trends on how things are going, right? Because you're looking at, I even think the marathon at 206 is wild, right? That's a ridiculous. That's assuming that everyone in that marathon is probably running a 102 or a 101 half, right, to get to that 206.
But I mean, you mentioned it earlier when we were talking before, like how many people have run that fast in the marathon and haven't gotten caught for some sort of doping violation?
That is true. But so here's my thing. We look at these standards. I think every year as they get better, we're all like, these are so ridiculous. And let's be real. We saw a 17-year-old run 143, okay?
142.
142.
And he was only 16.
I looked it up. And 17 men since 2024 have ran a 143 or faster.
So you're going to have 17 men only at the Worlds?
Here's the thing. There's not going to just be 17 guys because they're looking at the trend. The Worlds is next year in 2027.
It is.
So qualifiers are always about a month before Worlds or even a few weeks. They are there. So this gives all these individuals this much time to train. And now coaches are going to tailor all of their workouts to 143. And
it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, but like as of now, I think in the men's 10K, you'd have 4 people there.
and they're going to bend the standards. There's qualifying numbers. We learned about the point system through Eric Sawinski and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways. Now, for me, I think the 50 on the women's side is harder than 143 because we were talking that the best 400-meter runner we have ever seen do it, Sid, needs to run a 48, and that would be awesome, right? So to ask a bunch of women who run 51s to now go sub 50, that's harder to me.
Yeah, I mean,
on the women's side.
I wish that I had a better eye for meters to feet, but
they need to stop using meters. They already take the mile mostly. Like, stop using meters. The mile is the standard in distance. Let's start using feet. The world needs to catch up with us.
No, the opposite.
Meters makes no sense. I'm sorry. Listen, meters makes zero sense. Zero. Anything being 0.75. Who the hell knows what any of this is?
I just don't think that everyone has to conform to us.
Yes, they do. Everyone needs to conform to us at all times. I'm a spoiled brat. But anyway, Jim, does this mean anything to you?
Absolutely. And it's funny that, you know, they're setting these marks. And what I've been telling people recently is you should always set your goals higher than your ability to achieve them, because you'll surprise yourself along the way. You'll be surprised how people step up to these standards.
Now, listen, it's definitely going to be fascinating. I'm all in. I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I mean,
pushing the envelope. I mean, you don't know unless you try, right?
It's just crazy to me because, like, you know, like 6 years ago, like you'd say 330 for the 15, but now I'm like, all right, 330 seems kind of fair.
But here's the thing that I brought up,
like,
Dave.
it's crazy.
But here's the thing: we say 143 is fast. 17 guys have done this since 2024. I looked it up for comparison. Only 21 guys have run 330 or faster.
I'm saying
so while we're saying they're going, oh, it's 330, only 4 more men have run 330 or faster, and we're making a big deal. So it's like 335 was always the elite standard in the 15. And it wasn't 10 years ago that 335 was the qualifying mark. In 2017, I looked that up. It was 335 was the world.
Sure, I'm saying that it's just crazy how much faster everything's gotten in such a short time. I mean, to me, the steeplechase is crazy too.
808. And even for the women, 906. That's insane. So, but here's the thing. Like Jim said, if you give elite athletes a goal, they are going to go get it. My thing is,
we're going to find out.
We have 30 men at that 143 mark by the time Worlds hits. 30 men are going to be there. I think we're going to see the world record go down between them. I think Wanyoni's going to get it.
I mean, listen, these standards do set up for an incredibly fun, exciting meet.
Hi, at a 13.18 for the 110s.
I just don't know.
Like, that's insane.
I just don't know how many people you're going to have actually make it.
But again, that's why they have the point system and stuff like that. So that is those.
Is flying. 48 flat for the 400 hurdles is crazy too.
But Dave, you also look at the HEP and you look at the decathlon, 86.20 and a 65.50.
86.20 is ridiculous.
That's both of those. So listen,
the easiest one on the men's is the 100.
Both 100 and 200, 20.07 and 995. I mean, even the 44.45 is ridiculously fast.
Yeah,
like, that's fast. So now here's my thing, and this is where I think we're gonna get a little bit of our wires crossed, because you want to see some great stories. You want to see the runner from Bangladesh that runs a 338 maybe drop a 335.
Yeah, running for his country,
I don't care
about the stories.
Then go have the World Invitational.
I know.
The World Championship
not wrong.
Is merit. Because here's the thing. Jim, you are going to be in Hawaii for the Ironman Championship, correct? If you did not run the Ironman standard, would you have been invited to Hawaii?
No.
Man, now listen,
I had to get cancer to be invited.
I'm not saying people should be. I'm just saying it's crazy. It's fast. But listen, you know, we're at that point now where I guess let's just go, man. Let's see who.
Here's the thing.
Who makes it? Who's
the better story to me is that dude from Ecuador, one of my heritage countries, that I think their PR in the 800 to 146. There's a prodigy that comes out and hits that 143. Now we have an Ecuadorian that they didn't lower the standard for him. That person raised their standard. And we shouldn't be lowering standards of greatness.
I'm not saying lower standard. I'm just make them a little bit more reasonable.
That's you had 4 guys at 141 in the Olympics. 143 is reasonable.
All right.
We're 2 seconds. All right. So Jim, you get a little bit of the dichotomy of our show right here.
Absolutely. You know, I did a good bit of track and field in my early years, you know, elementary and then high school, and then kind of drifted away from that after school. But decathlon was back in the day of Bruce Jenner. You know, he was a hero back in the 70s and early 80s. So
The
but,
Wheaties box.
Yeah, we always did.
We had Dan and Dave in a 96, Dan O'Brien versus Dave Johnson.
Yeah,
and then Dan was obviously better, but he no-heighted pole vault, so he didn't make it.
Well, there's a reason why we have Ashton Eaton closing out our video of our intro, because Ashton Eaton to me is the greatest athlete in the history of man. He had the record for the longest time for the decathlon. He was like well in the 9,000s. He was ridiculous. He was so good.
He would drive with like a.
The decathlete's definitely the for me the greatest all around athlete
in the world.
Proves that you got to be good. You got to be good at everything,
dude.
Didn't he run like a 3:45.15? Like
Ashton Eaton would drop like a 45 point at like the end of day one. He was unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
and you're right, but like he knew how to race that 15 as well. I'm not sure he ran 3:45. That's fast.
His PR is fast. His PR is not like it's not. Maybe it might be 3:50. Centro champion number.
3:45 actually is the time that surprised me from this weekend. When I heard that Cooper Lutenkaus was running a 15, I thought, he's going to run 3:35. He only ran 3:45.
He was in the slow heat, though. He was in the third slow heat.
Right, but he didn't win that heat.
Well, he has to learn how to race.
I know, no.
Difference. A 15 is very different than an 8.
I forgot that he's only 17. That was on me. Like he's the same age of kids that I'm coaching now. So like once I got myself back into respect, I was like, all right. 3:45 is still a little over 4-minute pace, but he doesn't.
You also have to remember with Cooper, when he came into nationals, what was his PR? 146.
Yeah,
he didn't get down to 142, so he was 3:45 is on par for where he was at that 146 jumping in.
And 3:45 isn't slow. I just was I just after his 142 at 16, I definitely put him higher than I should have. And then winning worlds indoors, but
Jim, I want to get to you.
Yes, let's do it.
So you obviously, like you said, you ran track and field. I want to jump into the Ironman. When did you get the spark to want to do Ironman? Because to me, that is just, I want pain and I like pain.
Yeah. Yes, I seek it out. I actually talk about it in my book, Welcome Pain and Unwelcome Pain. So the welcome pain is the pain we bring on ourselves through fitness, and then the unwelcome pain is the pain that comes with cancer and illness. But for me, it started in 1982. It's when I graduated high school. When my father called me over to the TV, he was a marathon runner, and I was always impressed with him. He would run the New York Marathon, the Berlin Marathon, all over the world, London, and watching him cross finish lines inspired me to, start running. I wasn't very fast, but I did a lot of running and track and field. And then in 1982, called me over to the TV and said, check this out. It was Ironman was invented in 1978. I think like 26 guys did it. And then 1982, it had caught the national attention and the national media. That was the year Julie Moss stumbled across the finish line in that epic effort. And we watched that for the first time, and that was it. I thought maybe one day I could do that. And to be this many years later and actually going there, I'm thinking my whole life I'd never be able to make it because I'm not fast enough to qualify. It is really a dream come true. And, that's when it started, was 1982. But that was when the Ironman was invented. There were no smaller races. There were no organized races until about 10 years later. So I didn't get started until probably, early 90s. And since then, I've probably done 300 races, all kinds. I do marathons, do 10Ks and 5Ks and, bike races. I've always tried to do about 10 races a year, keep something on the calendar, which keeps me motivated and focused.
I mean, that's awesome. Like I become such a baby as I've gotten older in terms of like my level of pain threshold. And it's just like, I don't understand like where, like the mindset, it's really a mindset, right?
I think it's a personality type.
I have your book up here.
There's joy and pain, and I would say there's joy and pain, and there's meaning and suffering, but you have to go through it. If you quit in the middle, you don't get the joy. David Goggins talks about going through it, getting to the other side. Once you get to the other side, it's almost a joke in Ironman. Many, many times people cross the finish line and say, that's it, never again. And only 1 week later, they're signing up for another one because, you just lured back into it. And it started for me as a hobby, something to do for myself to stay fit on the weekends, became an obsession, which became a lifestyle, so much so that we do racecations. I take my family to race destinations because I'm not sitting on the beach. I can't do it. So we'll go to the beach. My wife will set up a beach chair. I'm running up and down the beach. I'm swimming to buoys and back.
You're the one that the lifeguards are yelling at. And then does your family go, listen, he's an Ironman. Like it'll be like he's going to save you. Like, you guys
what's funny is I grew up in Jersey on the Jersey Shore.
There you go.
Where in Jersey?
Jersey City is where I was born, and my mom and dad were from Hoboken and Bayonne and Secaucus, and everyone's moved out since. But then we moved down to Belmar and
Belmar.
That's right. That's he's Tom's River on Manchester.
No, I'm in Point Pleasant, but I teach in a Manasquan. So
Jersey Bikes, Manasquan is where a lot
Belmar
of
kids go to Manasquan. So like
that's where I grew up.
Nice.
So,
we're all Jersey Shore guys here.
I've been in the South since '93, and I always joke I don't say y'all, but I don't say yous guys anymore either. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I go home
y'all guys.
I go back home for 2 weeks. I come back talking like Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
But what I love about going home is the food. They don't have food down here.
Right.
They don't know what a deli is. They don't know what a slice of pizza. First of all,
bagels.
They don't have pork roll either. They definitely don't have pork roll down there.
No.
For the first year I was here, I would stop. Anybody said New York pizza, I'd pull in and go, give me a slice. They go, we don't do slices. Then you're not New York pizza.
Exactly. You got to go buy the slice. And if you don't have the world's greatest pizza, you're really not New York City pizza, because they all say world's greatest.
My mom and dad moved down to Virginia years ago. So now whenever they're up here, a lot of pizza places now, you could buy like pizza kits. So they like bring home dough and sauce and cheese from Jersey.
I got cousins that have bagels shipped down, and
listen,
Manhattan tap water. There was a restaurant down here that shipped in Manhattan tap water because they swore that was the key.
That's what everyone says.
It just tastes different.
It's the
and it is funny, the story. Like I was going home from college at one point, and me and my dad went out. And it was like Mother's Day, and my dad's an idiot. And he's like, let's go get your mom flowers. We'll sneak out in the morning. Let's go. And we go there, and it's a Sunday. So like the store was closed. Oh, no. And this one guy comes out and starts cursing and all this stuff, New Jersey style. And he goes, I haven't lived here in 10 years, but it takes one ass to make me get right back into Jersey style. Oh, and we started laughing. We're like, it's true. We know the people from Jersey, especially the shore, you never change. Yeah, we always say
that's my home. It always will be. Jersey's in my heart and soul. But I moved here in '93, and Atlanta's been good to me. And there's a lot of us down here. There's a lot of New York. There's a place called Bronx Bagels. The guys from the Bronx came down. They make good bagels. You go there on a Sunday morning, and it's just like a homecoming. Everybody knows each other.
The Northeast travels.
A lot of
travel, and we find each other.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, when it comes to like the Ironman too, we've had a few Ironman athletes and some ultra athletes on here as well. Mm-hmm. You guys are such a tight-knit community. What has it been like over the years, and now especially with your diagnosis? How has the community rallied around you?
Man, it's pretty amazing. I was about 6 months into my diagnosis. I had lost 35 pounds. I had a level 3 skin infection. But 2 weeks into my diagnosis, I was sitting on the couch first of all, I got diagnosed first week of April. 2 weeks later, I went to Texas and attempted Ironman Texas 24.
You were training, right? So you're like, I got to try it. I've been training.
Paid for it. Chemo didn't start till the next week. I already paid for everything. I said, let me give it a try. Didn't go so well. I got 80 miles into the bike and had to bail out. And I talk about it in the book, The Drive of Shame. I never had to load my bike in a truck and be driven back. It was really, on top of everything else, it was just so depressing to think that was going to be my last race. And like a typical Ironman, I went home a week later, signed up for another one. So I signed up for Chattanooga 24. And by then I had lost 35 pounds. The chemo was killing me. The cancer was killing me. And I was pretty depressed. I was really planning on dying. And then there was a shift. I got a good result from a test. Hundreds of tumors had disappeared from my liver, opening up a surgical option that wasn't there before. Yeah. And that's when my mind shifted. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to worry about dying. I'm going to worry about not living. And I'm going to keep doing what I love doing. And a lot of people have asked me, how do you train on chemo? I was like, that's my favorite time of the day. That's when I'm in my happiest place. That's when the pain and suffering is the least. And it's hard for people to understand that, but that's my escape. So that's my happy place. And that's what I did. I just leaned into that. And at my lowest point in September, October of 24, I decided that I was going to write a book to give faith to the faithless, hope to the hopeless, show people how to deal with a terminal disease and live a meaningful life, regardless of how much time you have left. The doctors told me I was terminal, defined as the end. And I didn't like that definition. That was 2 years ago. And when I look back, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of so many things. I decided I wanted to write a book. I did that. I decided I wanted to go to Kona. Didn't know how I was going to do either, and began working on those things. Once you set your mind in motion in a positive direction, all that negativity and despair goes away. So I try to
And
share that in the book, and that's
yeah.
one of the reasons I wrote the book, was to give people some hope.
Sure.
And you mentioned, you know, I don't know if it was before, David Goggins. Goggins is
Yeah.
really big on that. And I don't know if he's been an
Yeah.
influence on your mindset, but
Yeah,
he
I
is,
call myself Goggins Light, because he
yeah,
runs with
he's
broken feet
massive
and
on that
stuff. I'm
mindset.
not doing that. You know, I will quit
Yeah.
at some point. I don't
But
think he
he
knows
is,
how to quit. Yeah.
no, he doesn't, but he is crazy on that mindset and he's proof of it himself, right?
Yeah.
He's done it
Absolutely.
himself. He has his own story. And there's people that, you know, if you really want to change, Goggins is a good way to do it. He, you know, he has that. And I think part of it is with people when it comes to him, he has the belief in you right before, you know, you ever talk to him. You don't have to talk to him. If you come to him, he already believes in you. And I think that's big too. That support system that you maybe didn't think you had
And
is massive. So when coming from for you, what was your support system like when you got this diagnosis within your family and everything
I'm
like
so
that?
fortunate. I had really lived a charmed life. At age 59 and a half, I got my diagnosis. I was 185 pounds, single digit body fat, never had a cold, flu, sickness, nothing in my life. I had a 30-year career as a home inspector, very successful here in Atlanta. 30 years happily married. I think my wife's been happily married 25 of those years.
You gave yourself a lot. I'd say I'm my wife happy is
I'm
is a question
divorced,
mark
so
most of the time.
I'm sure I came close a few times, but I managed to work that out. My son's 21 years old. He's a good kid. And, you know, like I said, I had a charmed life. I've got great friends, great family. As I entered into this diagnosis, I was peaking physically, you know, mentally, spiritually, financially. I'm secure. I've got great insurance. My cancer center is 3 miles away. I go to Emory for my surgeries. I get the best doctors in the world, and I don't wait for anything. So I had all those elements in place. And when I talk about defeating cancer, fighting cancer, it's not one thing, it's everything. And you really need that whole team around you. My family, my friends, all the people that I've met along the way now. It's been one of the great gifts of cancer. Cancer's given me many gifts, believe it or not. And one of them is all the people that I'm meeting along the way. And the realization that I've developed this great group of friends and family, and that support system was already built in. So, you know, that realization made my heart warm. It also made me want to give back and try to help some other people if I can.
I mean,
wonderful.
You know,
What a mindset. I mean, like as you said, like it's all about mindset, because so many people, I feel, when they get diagnosed and they hear terminal, they go the opposite way.
It took me 6 months to flip it around.
Like a lot of people never get out of that. And I'm a firm believer that if you think you can beat it, you're going to beat it. If you sit there and you wallow and you have self-pity and you're depressed, chances are that whatever is bothering you is going to take over, because you're not ready. You're not mentally
There's all
ready.
kinds of research that supports that. There's also research that mild exercise, 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week, can extend your life by 40%. There's not a lot of research on long distance stuff, because stage 4 people don't live long enough to do the research. But what I found, and my doctor's been doing this for 30 years, Dr. Jab, my oncologist, my blood numbers are unlike anything she's ever seen in her career. My white cells don't seem to be affected as much by chemo. All my other numbers, even if they're off, they're just off a little bit. And I've been able to handle, I've done 24 rounds of chemo, 5 radiation treatments, and numerous surgeries, to include removing 40% of my colon, 60% of my liver, all of my gallbladder, all of my rectum, resulting in the ostomy that I have today. And I never stopped training through all this.
I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, it's always, you definitely, when you hear someone like your story or anything, it really makes you take a good look in the mirror, right? And it's like what, like, you know, and
what a baby I am.
It's a good thing, right? Because it's
like,
an inspiring
what a baby
thing.
I am.
Yeah, it's like you look at, and I try to keep my world in this perspective that we have so many things every day when we wake up to just be grateful for. Like the roof is still there. It rained last night and it didn't leak. I flipped the lights and they came on. I don't have to hope and pray like some people do that electricity's working in town that day. My water's clean and running. It gets hot. Like these little things that we just take for granted.
Because we all get caught up in what matters to us, and we forget that
luxuries.
That's another gift that cancer gave me, is what I would say, that one of the gifts, so many gifts, but cancer gave me time. Time gives you opportunities. And really, when I looked at my life and thought, what makes a life meaningful, what makes a life worth living, I had all the elements that I thought would do that, except for 2 things. One, seeing my son get married and having grandchildren. So those would be the 2 things that I would miss out on, but no hurry on that. we'll see what happens. But the good news
he's
for
21.
me
He has a bit.
is after 2 years of treatments, and I just went through 6 rounds of really hardcore chemo, which landed me in the hospital for 7 days. But in the hospital, when I was at my lowest point, thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make it to Kona. I had 2 blood clots on my jugular. I'm in the hospital. I'm supposed to be training, and I was really in bad shape, and I was in a bit of despair. And I got the news that I have no evidence of disease. The cancer's gone again for the second time. And then they told me, we handled the blood clots. I come out of the hospital. I've got a clear shot to Kona. I've got 4 months. I just started training again.
That's amazing.
And it looks like there's nothing in my way. So, that's my lifelong dream, to cross that finish line. And the way I got there was through the Ironman Foundation. And that's the charitable wing of the Ironman. Turns out I went to high school with the executive director of the foundation, and I hadn't talked to her in 44 years. Yeah. So she called me and we talked, and she said, is there anything, I can do for you? I was like, yeah, get me in Kona 2026. She's like, done. And I agreed to raise $100,000 if I can for the foundation. I'm using the profit from the book to fund that goal. So the whole thing is just a neat little package. And it's been raising funds and racing for the foundation has been one of the great gifts, again, that I've never done that before. And I'm having as much fun with that as I do with the competition. So I've got my personal goal of crossing that finish line, but then this other thing has become just as important and just as rewarding.
I love it.
So we have your book back up here. People, if you want to support, hear the story, Jim's story, and also support the Ironman Foundation, go get the book. I know I'm going to buy one because I do want to read it. Even though I'm talking, I want to get more in depth into your story.
Absolutely.
But also, if say I'm not a reader, right? There's a lot of people I don't read. Is there another way they could donate to you in the Ironman Foundation?
Yeah, and you can just go the Ironman Foundation. You can go and look my name up, Jim Logan, and it'll pop up, and you can make a donation there as well. But the reason the title came up is early on when I was doing those early triathlons and failing miserably. I was not in good shape. I was doing horrible. I didn't know why I was doing it at the time, but had I not done those early races, I'd have never made it to Kona, because I would have given up on the sport, and I wouldn't have found Kona. I wouldn't have found Audra at the Ironman Foundation. So even in the darkest moments when you can't see the finish line, if you know you're doing the right thing, just keep moving in that direction, and you'll be surprised what opens up for you. So just keep trying, no matter what crisis you're dealing with in life. Get up and keep doing the right thing, keep moving forward, and you'll be surprised how things work out. I know I am.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're living proof that if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, eventually it'll lead to something good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
this is also the page right here. Like you said, if you Ironman Foundation, just put in
it right there. Yep.
Jim Logan, and you can donate over here. Let's help him get to his goal.
I've actually got $10,000 more coming from corporate matches. And so I'm up to 25, quarter of the way there. And, I'm just getting started with this. So, I'm doing shows like yours, and that's been another super fun thing for me to kind of talk to other athletes around the world and share my story, which everyone seems to like. I've had teenagers read the book, and I've had people as old as 90 years old read the book. Men, women, everybody seems to pull something different out of it, which has been a great joy for me, because it's not just one theme. There's something in there for everybody, and I kept it simple. It's a great name.
I love the name. Just keep trying. Yeah. The pun is there, and it's
kind of like us talking in ovals. It's a good catchy name. It's good.
Yeah.
I do have to ask you, a guy in the Ironman community. So many years ago now, I had the privilege of interviewing on another podcast, Mark Allen. Have you talked to him at all? Because Mark was
never met him, but I don't know if you know about the Iron Wars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Him and
Dave Scott. Well, Dave Scott was my guy. That's who I followed. So I was kind of not a Mark Allen guy, but it's hard not to be a Mark Allen guy, because Dave was the first guy that strategized. He knew how to eat and drink and nourish, and he'd let people go in the swim. He'd let you go on the bike. Then he'd catch you on the run, because he knew how to calorie eat. Yep. Now everybody does that. Nobody used to do that back then. Sure. Mark Allen chased him for years. So elbow to elbow. It's getting like that now. The competition level, like you guys are talking about in track and field, competition level in Ironman at that now is getting so close that more and more, used to be one guy would just win by 5-10 minutes. They're getting, especially in the ladies, the last Ironman women's race was unbelievable. The competition is so tight after all those hours. They're getting to that point where it's going to be elbow to elbow running to the finish line. But Mark Allen and Dave Scott, they started it. And it was so much fun. I still watch that again back every now and again. But I was more of a
finishes,
Dave Scott guy. So,
but so the thing is too, and I'd imagine, because I know Mark lives over
and
in
then
Hawaii,
Mark went
and
on to win just as many as Dave Scott.
yeah,
So,
yeah. He lives over in Hawaii, and I remember it just randomly, I did a show, it was just all about sports, called Sports Opinions, and I just messaged him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come on." And just
it's
the
cool.
nicest dude. He
Yeah.
is exactly what you think of a guy that would live in Hawaii. He's just a surfer, bro. He
The
just wants
sport's
to be
super
out there.
humble. Everybody in the sport, there's really no
You have to be
arrogant
humble.
cockiness in Ironman.
I
It's
can
because, I
imagine
mean,
it's
like,
humbling in general. Just the event itself is a humbling event.
To
real
me,
supportive. Real
yeah, I mean-
supportive. Like if I'm on my bike and I'm pulled over to the side of the road in a race, every single athlete that passes, you okay? You need anything? You know, you need air. You
You
need
need a
valve,
gel. What do you got?
Yeah,
Yeah, you have stuff.
I would imagine it's akin to the community of the decathlon. Like everyone just like you know how hard that it is to get to that point. So even if you're beating that person or not, you respect the hell out of them because you know what they had to do to get
absolutely.
to that point.
One thing I love about the Ironman, there's so many things I love about it, and it's not a participation trophy. Everybody who crosses the finish line is a winner because of what they had to do to get there. And Ironman
here's the thing: there's a number and a standard you have to reach in order to get the Ironman, right? Even if you complete it, if it's not at that time,
well, you need to be under 17 hours,
which is insane considering
doing
how
something
far
straight
you
for
guys
17 hours.
go.
I'd have to sleep, man.
Yeah, it's 2.4 miles swimming, 112 miles biking, and then the marathon to finish.
I don't think I could do any one component at this point in my life.
Yeah, and the pros are running like the top pros are running hour 6 on the half marathon at the end of the swim and the bike, and that half marathon, the half Ironman is 1.2 mile swim, 56 mile bike. But then they get off and run an hour 6. I mean, they're going to be running an hour half, 2.5 hours on the marathon. So the speed is insane. Which for an ordinary guy like me to get in, to win, to get in, it would have never happened. So
you actually see here
some gave me was the Ironman Hawaii. So
you actually see here a lot of like smaller multi things coming up, like with like a half mile swim, like a half mile swim, like a 20-mile ride.
It's usually 500-600 meter swim, 12-15 mile bike, and then a 5K. 5K. That's your starter race.
Yeah,
it's harder than it sounds.
I couldn't do that now. No way.
Yeah. I remember they did the team tri challenge 2 Olympics ago, and it was awesome. It was a mixed men and women. I think it was 2 men and 2 women, and they would like swim 200 meters, and it was like a mile run and a 5-mile bike, and then they tagged in a teammate, and they just
they're trying to make it more spectator friendly.
It was awesome to watch.
It's real hard to watch an Ironman. You got to really love it. It's like watching the Tour de France. You got to love it to sit there and watch
the drone
for hours and hours and hours.
But we need better drone technology to follow, because I think the drones are the answer. You can have people hovering and flying, and people would tune in and pay money and subscriptions to watch just the competition overhead and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate too, because I have in my family, we've had him on this show, Greg Cavazangian, he's an Ironman. He's completed Lake Placid a bunch of times. I know his goal. I don't know if he's made it, but to get to Kona, and he's an Ironman. He reached the number and everything, and it's an addiction for him too.
You either qualify by time, or you can qualify by legacy, which means you have to do 10 or 11 races, and then you put your name in the hopper, and you eventually get in that way. If you do enough, they'll let you in. But there's 2,500 athletes in the race. 10% are pros and half are women. So that leaves about 1,100 men in the world that get in. And I got to be one of those.
That's so
cool. It's a tremendous honor. And I just,
now I have where can you, is the Ironman, is that on TV this year? Like, or
they usually live stream it on Ironman TV. Gotcha. I don't know why the networks don't pick it up. So they had a thing with NBC forever. And what they would do is they would take the entire race, condense it into an hour and a half, and do a little couple of fluff pieces, and make it a little more watchable for the average person. Because unless you're into it, just like watching a marathon, if you're not into it, it's pretty boring, because you don't know what's going on, and you don't, it's just not TV friendly to the average viewer.
We get people bored with track watching a 10K, so I can certainly understand.
I will say this, though, I will say this. Track is friggin' boring in between the races. I was watching, for whatever reason, because I'm a junkie, the Big South Championship was on. I was just scrolling through in the Big South Champion. I was like, cool.
That is commitment.
Let me watch some track. It was just on. I scrolled through. So I threw it on, and my kids are coming in like, Dad, track again. I'm like, yeah, sit down, quiet. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes in between the 400 hurdles and the 200. I'm sorry. There should not be a 5-minute gap.
Right.
What we need to do, we need to adjust track and field.
They got to get the hurdle
point.
Track.
I don't care. Get them off quicker.
You're
at a conference championship. You're at a conference championship. What needs to happen is, instead of saying to the athletes, this is the time we're starting, you need to have a 15-minute window. Be ready. Within these 15 minutes, you can be called on the track anytime within that. So that when an event gets done, get on the track. Because this whole entire, we have to get to this exact time. No, give the athletes a 15 to 20-minute window. You need to be ready to race within this window. We can call you anytime. I don't care if it's the first minute or the last. And make everything rolling. Give these athletes a 15 to 20-minute window. And then get them on the track. Get them on the track. We just need these officials that are 700 years old to be able to get there too.
Well,
that doesn't help.
But they're old.
But it drove me crazy. I'm watching this and I'm with my kids. I'm like, I can't justify leaving this on. Just took 5 minutes in between an event. And then it was like a minute and a half between the heats. It's like, how are we going to grow this sport? And even with the Ironman, like,
it's the same thing. It's a really hard thing unless you're totally into it and you know what's going on. It's easy to lose people. It's hard to grab the larger audience. Where there's other sports that are just a little more spectator friendly. People can understand it a little better.
I get it, but it's like people watch 4 days of golf, right?
Yeah.
They watch 2 weeks of tennis. Yeah. And listen, I like golf and tennis. I'm just a sports junkie. I could sit down and watch all 4 days of the US Open and enjoy it.
If the competition is good, then that's all I need is good competition. Yeah. So it doesn't matter to me, like the women Ironman triathletes are slower than the men. That doesn't matter. The last women's race, 2025, Lucy Charles Barkley bonked 6 miles before the finish line. She was on her way to win. She lost it. She couldn't go another step.
Her name is Lucy Charles Barkley. That might be the coolest name that I've ever heard.
Yeah, so cool. She's a great athlete. And then Taylor Nibbs, who's a newcomer, and she was set to win 2 miles that she bonked. And then the girl from Norway, wherever all the athletes are coming from now, Philip Baumgart and all them, Olga Slovatsky, whatever. She was in third place. She just played her cards right and cruised right past the two of them for the win. So if the competition's good, I can watch anything.
Absolutely.
Sometimes your body just says no. In all of these endurance races, you could train as much as you want. And sometimes your body is just like,
it's an off button. And you can see, like, she couldn't take another step. Her husband had to come in on the course and take her off because she wouldn't do it herself. And you're at that point where you could do damage to your organs.
The thing is, too, is crazy.
But as an Ironman, she probably would have kept on trying and trying.
She would have kept going. Her husband pulled her off the course.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
And to an Ironman, it's like it's only 6 more miles. I can do 6 miles, and it's like, but you know what? Your body just said no, right? Like, for like 6 miles isn't long.
And they're so finely tuned with their calories. Literally, when the tank is empty, it's over. And that's how the timing is. You never know if your body's going to be prepared on the day. You train and you train and you train, but then you got to taper, and you're hoping you have this perfect set of conditions, that you have the right amount of nutrition and rest.
And you can't control a body of water, right? Like, okay, I know my swim, I want to expel this amount of energy.
Can't control wind.
The current's worse. The weather's not great. So now I have to work harder.
I couldn't imagine wind, like running a marathon in wind.
Everyone has a plan until they say go.
Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? Yeah. I imagine. And the thing is, like, we've talked to some, triathletes and Ironmen, and it's like, sometimes you swim over each other, right? So there's certain things you need to be ready
I'll tell you a little trick for being a lifelong swimmer. If someone's in front of you, this is not a cool thing to do, but if someone's in front of you and you've got right on their feet, you can grab them by the ankle, pull, and they will go right underneath you. You go right over top of them.
But it's like a wave, right? It's like going over and under a wave.
And it's unfortunate, but Ironman Texas, they had a 35-year-old Brazilian woman who drowned in the swim.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And that was
a couple months ago. So
with all of these types of sports, there's always that risk, right? That risk is there, and you
so highly unusual, especially for such a young woman. We still don't know what happened. Nobody knows really what happened with that, but.
Awful. But something about
that's the fun of the race is I've learned something new in every race, and of course you prepare for the thing that happened last time, but that's never going to happen twice.
Nope.
No. It never happens the same way.
You have to be prepared for the unexpected. You just have to be open to anything.
Every now and again, you get one of those great days where things just go right, and I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping I earned that in Hawaii.
But we'll see. Even on a great day, it's still 17 hours. Something is not going right.
And then Hawaii is the most unique environment because the swim is okay. It's a beautiful lagoon. A lot of times they say dolphins swim with you, and that's kind of cool. But the big thing is the bike ride and the lava fields. They have a bunch of different microclimates, and apparently the lava fields just go for miles, and the heat is just outrageous. Sometimes the winds can be 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds. So there's no environment like it. There's no way to prepare or train for it unless you've been there. So I'm just really, really excited to have an opportunity to line up with the greatest athletes in the world on the greatest stage in the world for a one-day endurance race. And I just so thrilled to be involved in it. It's a great thing.
I feel like when you get to Kona at that point, it's the adrenaline. When the adrenaline comes down, right? Because everyone, if you've been there before, you know what you're doing, right? If you haven't been there and it's your first time, I'd imagine that adrenaline high is going to carry you a few hours through. But how do you respond when that adrenaline comes down and then your body starts to come back to earth?
That's when you grab those caffeinated gels.
Yeah. But it's like, I feel like that's the biggest challenge of some of those big races. I feel like runners go through it in like the Boston Marathon, New York Marathon.
I think I'm old enough. I'm old enough and savvy enough. I've done enough races where, I take it easy on the swim. The first 15 minutes, I just remind myself how much I love the water. I know I'm not going to win this thing. I just want to relax. I want to let my heart rate not spike and then try to bring it back down. I want to ease up into it. When I feel good, I'll start to pick it up a little bit. The swim to me is a warm up. I don't race through the transition. I take my time. I get set up right. And then when I get on the bike, you just got to settle in for a long ride. The bike is where things start and then get difficult. The first half, usually not too much trouble. It's the back half. And then the marathon, forget it. You never absolutely know how you're going to feel by the time you get to the run.
Now, mile 16. Once you get to mile 16, it doesn't matter who you are, what you're in. Mile 16 is just torture the rest of the way.
Do you find, because I kind of like what you said, and I think that can help mind frame, knowing that you're not going to win. Do you feel that helps you kind of settle down more and hey, listen,
I think the mistake.
This is my own thing. I'm running my own race.
I believe a lot of the younger athletes, I was guilty of it as well. You go into a race with an expectation of doing the swim in this time, to doing the bike in this time. And then maybe your body's not prepared to do that. And you have to be able to adjust. But if you have goals set in your brain that are unrealistic, it'll ruin your day because you can't meet them. So I like to just let the race come to me, let my body and my heart rate dictate what I do. If I need to back off, if I need to, walk a little bit or slow down, I'm happy to do that. And my only goal is to come in under 17 hours. That's all I have to do.
I was going to say, my goal would be 16:59:59.
Yeah.
Like that would be my goal.
Right. But like, it's, like you have to be so in tune with your body in something like this. You have to just be ready. Like, listen, all right, this might not go well, but, and then just accept how you feel. And then
I've got a coach, Jill Bartholomew, Be Fierce Multisports. She's a world-class athlete in her own right. She's coaching me. And, in some cases as a coach, you got to push athletes a little bit. In my case, in a lot of cases with athletes that do too much, I have to be reeled in because I'll do too much. I'll go too far. I'll go beyond where I should go, especially in training. And so between my wife, my doctor, and my coach, they keep me from doing too much or going too far. And like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've got 300 races. So I'll be relaxed. I mean, I'll be excited and I'm really going to absorb the feeling.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to savor that. I can't even imagine. I mean, I'll probably get teary eyed here even thinking about it, but I don't know what it'll feel like for me to step off the plane in Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. And now I'm going to the place that I've dreamed of for 50 years. And I'm finally one of these guys. So it's a dream come true. And like I said, the gift of cancer, I'm doing things I never imagined I would do.
I think you've earned it after 300 races. I think
I would think, because like looking at it from mine and Alex's perspective, like, wow, like it's amazing to just finish. But I would imagine most people there, their mindset isn't, I just want to finish. I'm sure that
a lot of them have goals and times that they want to achieve. Obviously, in my case, my first goal was to arrive alive. I signed up for this race 15 months previous to it and had no idea what kind of shape I would be in, especially with stage 4 cancer where circumstances can change daily. And that's been a challenge with training. Fortunately, I said I have a coach who you have to change the plan almost every day. But I got a really good first 5 months of training in before I had to go. I went back into chemo. I was able to train through that and then got hospitalized toward the end there, which I've had 3 or 4 weeks off now. And it's really good timing because that gave me a little bit of rest. Now I've
Sure.
got no evidence of disease, and now I can move through the summer and hopefully, develop enough fitness to get in under 17 hours. I think I'll be able to do it.
So, how has your training changed since the diagnosis? Now, obviously, training is going to change anyway as we get older, right? That's
Yeah.
always an adjustment as, okay, you could do the same things just slower. Or no, you can't do this anymore because, or you just, there's differences in general. But how has that changed between you and your coach since the diagnosis?
So, some days are better than others. Some days things go really well and I'm able to meet all my metrics, and other days are just things don't go as well, and you just got to throw. I call it throw it away.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'd say I've been able to accomplish probably 80% of the. It's 7 days a week with the training. I usually, a lot of people train 7 days a week. I'm not a guy I need a day's rest.
I think
But
that's
a lot
good
of
for the body. If you do too
Yeah.
much, you might not be where you want to be
some
on the
people
day
can
of
handle
competition.
it, and the
We're
theory
also
in
learning how
triathlon.
important rest is. Like I know, like as a coach, like coaching now rather than 20 years ago, there's a lot more of an
Well,
emphasis on rest, and like not going hard every day, just kind of making sure that the body is
Yeah.
taken care of, so that when it's called on to perform, you have every ounce of it
And some
that is
people need more
available.
rest than others. You look at
Sure.
Michael Phelps, didn't take a day off for what, 5-6 years.
Yeah, he was just
He
a
went
freak of
crazy.
nature, man.
So it's different for different people, but I'm definitely a guy that benefits from a day of rest. So now I
Good.
take more rest, and the biggest difference in my training is I can still do big things. I can still ride my bike for 100 miles, but I can't recover as quick.
Yep.
It
You
kicks
could
my
do
ass
it, but
for
it's
a couple of
it's
days. It takes me longer to
exactly.
recover.
Exactly.
So you got to tailor things a little bit. I'm definitely not looking to meet any goals as far as getting faster. I'm just
Who cares?
trying to maintain and keep my hand in the game. Even with this last couple of weeks off, I'll go all the way back to when I started in December. I had 3 months off because my rectum removed. I had major surgeries. When I came back to training, my first 2 laps in the pool, I swear to God, I thought I was going to drown. I even talk about it in the book. I got through the second lap. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to drown. And then I had to tell myself, I was like, remember who the hell you are. Start swimming, you idiot.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
swimmer. And then I got into it. And by the end of the workout, I was fine. But man, I had to, you think 30 years of fitness would carry with you. It's like, nope, I had to start over from scratch. My first 5K was 66 minutes. And
Wow.
that's, super. And then within a month and a half, I had it back down to, 10 minute miles. So it didn't take long to get back, but now I've been off for 4 weeks and I'm getting back on the bike, and, I'm like, oh man, here we go again, so, but I can feel my strength coming back, and I can feel I lost 20 pounds this time around. So I've gained about 10, 15 back. So, I think I'm going to glide right through the summer. It's going to be good. I really think I'll be able to develop the fitness to get me over that one.
How important for you, and even throughout your career as an Ironman athlete, has lifting been? Because I think, and especially there's always studies now that, especially as we get older, people always think, oh, I'm just going to do cardio. And but there's studies out there, we should be lifting heavier as we get older.
Yeah.
So how does that fit into your training regimen?
So 1982 was when I first thought, man, I'd like to do that Ironman. But through my 20s, like a lot of guys, I was in the gym all the time. That's all I did was lift weights. I wasn't necessarily a bodybuilder, but for 10 years, all I did was lift heavy weights. When I started in triathlon, I was 220, 210 pounds. Over the years, I've gotten down to more of a stereotype, 180 pounds, 6 feet tall, 10% body fat. But I'm a muscular triathlete, and I still lift. A lot of triathletes, I lift a lot more than most endurance athletes, and I do more endurance than most lifters. And I understand the philosophy of
You're in
muscle
that happy
building.
medium.
Yeah. And it probably slows me down, but I'm in it more for the fitness, and initially got into the endurance stuff just to trim body fat.
But
and
it's
then I drifted away from the weights and drifted more into the endurance. So
it's something that we're finding, though, even with a lot of our 10K guys and stuff like that, you do want to be in the weight room, and there's different types of lifting for all the different stuff. But I think, one of the guys on the track side, Galen Rupp, really made that a big thing because he started putting out his weight room workouts.
Yeah.
And they were intense. And
Yes.
he wasn't
Yeah.
lifting light, like he was squatting real weight.
Yeah.
And he's a tall, lanky dude. And you would never think he was able to put up the type of things he does. And
it's called building a foundation. That's building a foundation. And you know, like plyometrics and some of the things, you know, box jumping and
I love box jumps. That's my favorite explosive thing to do is box jumps.
There's really just so much there that to leave any stone unturned. You know, a lot of triathletes are pushing the envelope too. Felix Baumgartner, the guy from Norway or whatever. I mean, he's training 7 days a week. He does things that nobody does. I mean, they have when he's racing, I believe they insert a small thermometer up his butt so they can monitor his body temperature. They tried swallowing it, but then the water and stuff would mess it up because apparently your body temperature has an impact on your performance. And I mean, they're taking it to a level like he's a science experiment.
I mean, and
he's killing it this year. He's winning everything. So,
but there's something to be said about like Ivan Drago style, right? Like just becoming a cyborg and doing it, and also just doing it for me, like the purity sometimes is more fun, right? You just have that athlete that you could just see as having a great friggin' time doing it. They're really, really good, and they're competing with all of these types of I have to do this and this and this, and it's like there's
that definitely ruins the fun. One big question that everyone always asks, why do you do Ironman? And especially once I got cancer, they said, why are you still doing Ironman? And I've never really had a good answer for it until I got cancer. And I tell you, the reason I do it is very simple. I love it.
Yeah, you have to.
I love it. You wouldn't do it if you wouldn't do it if you didn't because it's too much work.
No, you would not.
So it's not about winning or time. It's just I enjoy the sport. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the events.
And listen, it's being fit is great. Like it's
you know, you love it. That's the reason most people do something. So I have that love for the sport.
There's got to be a little bit of that high at times though, when like you're talking to someone and you're just like, you tell them you're an Ironman, right? Because people know it's such an exclusive group of human beings that have done that. Like
especially Kona. It's like 0.00001% of the population because
if you really
it's only been around for 50 years. So 50 years, 2,500 athletes, maybe 100 and something thousand athletes over the entire existence of the sport.
Yeah. You know, and it's like 6-point-something billion people on the planet, and maybe a few thousand are truly Ironmen consistently, and women, Ironmen and Iron women. Like it's such an exclusive group, and it's something that you guys, along with like the ultra marathoners, your 50, 100 milers, like we had.
I would throw marathon runners in there as well. People respect marathons.
Hell yeah.
The issue with the marathon, people respect it, but the issue with the marathon, I think more than some of the others, is it takes such a toll because they're running fast for 26 miles. Like it is to be able to get near a 2-hour marathon on pavement the way they do, like that is grueling. And it's like, I don't think, and I love it because like I'll watch like the Boston or something with my daughters and I'll say, I'm like, they're running daddy's fastest mile and they're doing it over and over and over and over. And there's like,
I couldn't keep up with them for 100 meters. I couldn't keep up with them for 100 meters. Are you kidding me?
No, and so they did do that really cool. They had a treadmill, and I think Flow Track did, or one of them, where the current athletes, they tried to run at the pace. No, it was actually like a big mall somewhere. I think it was like the Mall of America.
Yeah.
They're
trying to run at Kipchoge's pace, I think.
The 2-hour pace.
Yeah.
It was something. Okay, and they were putting regular people and they were turning it up to it. And you're just seeing how they're struggling and people are realizing they did 26.2 miles at that, and it was the average pace. Like, and that's the type of stuff we need to do though in these sports, right? Like, you need to take like, what's the Ironman? The Ironman, like the record is like 7.5 hours, something insane.
Yeah, and they used to think 8 was not breakable. And
now the Ironman's like 7.5 hours.
How?
Yeah, no,
they're Scandinavian. That's how.
They're running 2-hour, 20-minute marathons at the end. I've said, you know, most of these Ironman athletes, they could be professional swimmers, professional cyclists, or marathon runners. They could do either. They're that good in each of the disciplines.
Well, a lot of them grew up in the mountains over in the Scandinavian and like those areas, and I feel like there is something to where you're born, right? Because if you're born at that altitude, and there's a reason why Colorado is such a big deal as well.
Arizona.
Because when you're growing up and you're raised in that area, there is something to the body composition with the way you're able to take in oxygen. That is very different than us at sea level, where we breathing in humidity and so much different stuff. as we grow up. There's certainly something to that.
And there's, your VO2 max, people, you're kind of born with that. Felix Baumgartner, I think he's got the highest VO2 max in the world. He's just, he developed it, but you also have to have that a
there's
little
innate
bit
talent.
already.
Yeah. And the, lactic acids, right? There's some people that are just freaks of nature where their lactic acid buildup is such a minimal impact on their performance. Like they still get it, but they can ignore it. Like some people could just ignore that, where other people, when it builds up, and they don't have to do as much. Like when I was done with my races and everything, I would have to go home and sit against a wall, legs up, and feel it drain out and things like that. Other people can just go for 100 miles and then walk. Like the craziest thing to me is all of these amazing runners and stuff like that. They get done running ridiculously fast. And even you probably see this at the Ironman. They cross the line and they don't collapse. They just start walking like they didn't do anything. It's like, that's the difference between freak of nature athletes
or
everybody else.
Go and do an interview like 30 seconds after. I'm like, how are you speaking?
I'll tell you one of the coolest things about the Ironman, and you'll see it in Kona, but you see it at every Ironman. The winners oftentimes will come back and medal the last finishers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so they come back and honor the last people off the course and give them praise for a longer, harder day than anybody out there. So that's one of the cool things too, is when they come back and honor the age groupers, because really that's what makes the sport. And there's really no other sport like it, where 10% are pros and the other 90% are just regular people.
Yeah. And it's like, that is awesome too. Cause I can imagine like, okay, Kona's hard. So your best are probably finishing like 8.5, 9 hours. Right. And now they're waiting another 6 hours to make sure that last Ironman, Iron Woman gets their title. Right. Yeah. And that is so cool. And I can imagine it's like a party over there at that point.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
Festival. It's so much fun. I could imagine the beer tastes delicious when you are done with an Ironman. Because I've always made the joke. People are like, "Why do people run?" Because you get a pint at the end of most.
Beer at the end. Yeah.
Like it's for one pint. Everyone runs for a pint. Like that's.
Yeah, we've got a race here that I do every year. It's the Father's Day Beer Mile. You run around it's a brewery. You run around the brewery 4 times. You drink 1 beer on each lap.
Yep. Oh, we'd love to listen. The beer mile was a college thing. We used to do the beer mile, and if you puked, you had to do another lap. Like that was always, you needed to be 4 beers deep for entry. Was always our thing. You had to be
warm up. Yeah, that was the warm up. Yeah.
You had to be 4 deep in order.
What's funny is the first Ironman, they didn't have aid stations on the course, so I think it was one of the admirals or something started drinking. He drank like a 6-pack of beer in the last like 10 miles just to hydrate, and then they banned beer on the course after that.
I mean, why do they got to take away all the fun?
Legendary. But yeah, you run into that on races. Like we race through Chattanooga, and you go through the college town where the dormitories are, and they'll have shots and beer, and you can stop and have a little sip of beer or whatever if you decide to. I can't do it. Once I can't mix things. I have to wait to the finish line.
I mean, again, if you're running and you're competing for that long, a sip of beer for a lot of these ultra athletes and stuff isn't going to ruin their race, right? No, because you're going to sweat it out in the next 5 miles. So it's like, it's already out of your system. But Jim, I can't tell you just, it's like I said, it is a privilege, and it's one of the reasons why I podcast, to be able to do these things, talk to people like yourself, because you're inspiring. Whether you know it or not, I think at this point you probably realize that your journey is an inspiring journey to so many people, and it
sustains me as well. So it's what I give, I get back, and what I get back, I think is greater than what I'm giving. So it's what makes my life meaningful. And when I decided that I wasn't worried about really when I'm going to die, I'm worried about not living and living in the moment, not worrying about tomorrow, just take care of today. Those are some of the gifts that cancer gave me, and I'm living my best life right now. I wouldn't change my diagnosis if I could, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Cancer is clearly the worst thing that ever happened to me, but in ways it's also the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's given me opportunities to meet guys like you, and I'm meeting so many great people. I'm inspiring people along the way, publishing the book, Going to Kona. I'm sure you guys will follow me. We can follow up after the race and talk about it again.
Absolutely.
I think you would have to be
what a mindset. Like we should. What a great mindset.
We should do,
Thank
because
you.
we've had a few ultra people on the show and like Ironman. We should do a oval table with our ultra endurance athletes
Sure.
and just have a conversation where we bring back some of our ultra athletes. You know, we've had, like I said, we had Cole Crosby on, who ran
Yeah,
from Vegas to the Phoenix. He did that long ass one.
Jennifer
We've had
Comfort,
Jennifer
right?
Connolly.
yeah. Well, we're
who
all
did
athletes, and you said
Jennifer
that
Comfort,
in the
right?
pre-show.
Jennifer Comfort. Yeah, not Connolly. Yeah, not the actress. Jennifer Comfort.
Our sport of choice may be different, but we're all athletes, and
Absolutely.
we're all human beings. And I think that you can learn from everybody in the kind of different way. So get outside of your bubble and kind of learn from some other folks and be inspired
Agreed.
by some other folks. So yeah, it's a good thing, man. I really enjoyed meeting you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I got the sound worked out.
Yes,
That was my
yes.
fault.
Me too. No, listen,
happens.
it's wonky. Honestly, it's not perfect. Like, the beauty of the internet allows us to do these things. Like,
Yeah.
you're in Georgia, he's in Jersey, I'm in New York, and it's like, it's awesome, but at the same times it can be friggin' wonky and frustrating.
Yeah, yeah.
We got it worked out. So I want everyone to make sure, because Jim is awesome. Once again, go, and if it wants to work, thank you. Go purchase Jim's book. If you think that the little bit that he told us, there's probably so much more he expands upon in the book. If you think his story is inspiring, go there and support him, because like he said, that money is also going towards the Ironman Foundation. So if you go on Amazon, search Just Keep Trying. If you're listening on the audio, it's TRI-ING, because it's a pun.
We'll play on words, right?
Yes, little play on words. So go on Amazon, buy his book, and read it, enjoy it, be inspired by it. I plan on buying it myself. And then also, again, if you're not a reader, because not everybody is, make sure that you go Ironman Foundation, put in Jim Logan, and you can support him there, because getting him to his 100K goal is awesome. It's going to help
Moving
him
in the right direction. I've got all summer to get there, so I have some good confidence that things are going to work out.
100%. And, I want to make sure I just put a note down on my side to make sure that we try to pull this up for every
Future shows,
episode for the rest of the summer, to make sure that we can get people that maybe don't know your story to go and to donate. Even if you could donate $5, $10, throw it in there, every bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I get out of a book. Amazon takes a pretty big chunk. So I laughed about it with Audrey. I said, we're going to raise $100,000, like $5 at a time. Through the kindness and generosity of this athletic community that we all love so much. And like you said, it's bigger than just our individual sports. I think there's a lot of commonality with all of us.
100%. And lastly, before we go, because we've been so bad about it, we're doing it 2 nights in a row, damn it. Bella Mile, June 6th, 2026, over at the CBA track in Jersey. Go and sign up. If not, it doesn't matter if you are a 4 flat miler or a 10-minute miler. There is a category for you here. Diane D'Olivero does an amazing job. Bellas are awesome. And they have the fellas now too, which I love.
Bellas and fellas.
The Bellas and fellas. So make sure you go sign up. Obviously, Lilo Gordon's going to be there. Jessica Abbott, a familiar face for you, Coach. Coach Decker is going to be there.
Yep.
And obviously Summer Sprague, Brielle McDonald. So go there.
Brielle is an 8th grader. She's really good. She runs like a 5:10. She's good.
Yeah. So go run a mile. You don't have to sprint, jog the mile, but just go around. It's a festival. It's a great
community
time.
thing. It's awesome.
It's a community thing. I know the Outpost, right? Are they going to be there?
I'm not sure.
There's always somebody there, whether it's Outpost or, there's so many people. So go there, run a mile, and we'll make sure we bug you at least one more time on our next episode to talk about that. But outside of that, we appreciate everybody that has watched, everyone that's listening. Jim, is there any other spot, Instagram or anywhere that people can?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Stage 4 2025. It's the number 4 2025, STAGE 4 2025, Stage 4 2025. And I post pretty frequently about what I'm doing and my condition and how things are going. I try to keep things positive and humorous. Try to paint a better face on cancer. Too many times the outcome of cancer is, not so pleasant. And I've been fortunate to be able to handle chemo the way I've been able to handle it, handle the treatment and the surgeries the way I've been able to handle it. But I give credit to my fitness and how I come into it. So
sure, has to help.
I would encourage everyone to just keep trying. If you're down and dejected, get up, get off the couch, go do something. Go run that mile.
Go run the Bella Mile, damn it.
Go run the Bella Mile. You'll really crossing finish lines is one of the greatest feelings.
It is. That is true.
In the world.
That is true. So once again, thank you for watching wherever you're watching from, YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch, or Kick. Make sure that you give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff if you have not already. And we will be back next week with another exciting episode. So once again, you guys got a bonus episode this week. You're not going to be so lucky next week, I promise. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Bye, y'all.